So, what do you want to do?
Welcome back to the last day of the 7 days to having the life, living, and body you know is possible and accessing your true nature. I hope you're as excited as I am in bringing mantras into your life. And as I use the metaphor that mantras are like a weight for your mind, today I'm going to teach you another type of weight that you can use to grow and expand your life, your business, your body, and your joy of being in the world. A big mistake I see a lot of people do in their lives is give up too quickly. Whenever there's an expectation, it's really hard to get into the space of just being in the action of play and seeing what else is possible. And again, when you're in expectation, there's always this judgment that comes up to stop you. So would you be willing to just step into the trust, which we're going to really expand out on as one of the 4 cornerstones of living a phenomenal life today, and just trust that you know, and that you'll get there in your own time. What if you truly only have control, power, and choice in the very moment you're living in? When you're living in the present, there is no room for expectations or judgments. There's just room for more possibilities and choice on what works for you and what matches your ideal target. In today's lesson, I've left the best for last, and I just really want to give you a brief introduction to the 5 cornerstones of intimacy, which I cover in depth in a lot of the core access consciousness classes and the other classes that I do. And this really is the space where you get to have all of you show up so that you start to attract the people that have contribution and generosity and kindness in your life. We're going to discuss intimacy today. For me, intimacy is really about into-me-see. It's about seeing the parts and pieces of me as a whole being that has been, done, seen, and had everything in one lifetime or another. So it's really hard to judge yourself from a space of intimacy. The 5 cornerstones are honor, trust, vulnerability, allowance, and gratitude. And as you know, we gave gratitude its own lesson because it's just such a big key in finding that space of being kindness. If you don't have these 5 cornerstones in your own life, you can't have it with somebody else. And you're always looking for a roadmap to prove that you exist or to find yourself. To begin with today's lesson, we're going to have a look at each one of these in a little detail. What does honor mean to you? To be in a place where you really honor yourself and the choices that you're making, regardless of what other people's point of view is on that. I mean, honor really is just a place of honoring yourself, of having the kindness to show up in your life without having to cut or divorce or bend, staple or fold or mutilate parts and pieces of yourself, and go out of integrity with what you know to be true for you. So remember, what's true for you is not necessarily going to be true for somebody else. And when you really stay in that place of trusting and honoring of you, then anything is possible. By definition, honor means to treat with regard. So it's no disrespecting of yourself or other people, and allowing yourself to show up in the world as you are in your true nature. It's that space of seeing the greatness in you and all the other bits too, the good, the bad, and the ugly, even when you don't always want to look at that. The second one is trust, and this is one that oftentimes we have a lot of difficulty with because we step out of trusting, just that gut instinct of knowing. And we've all had those moments when you've done something that you know you shouldn't have done and you've gone ahead and done it anyway. And then a little time later you go, why didn't I listen to my gut? I knew that this was going to work out the way that it did. For trust, it's really to just trust your intuition without a doubt, with yourself and with other people. If you really come from trusting that that person is going to do whatever they're choosing, it's not blind faith. Trust everybody to be exactly who they are. Hoping that they're going to change is not something that you can control in your reality. For example, my enjoyable other often leaves the toilet seat out before he comes to bed at night. So to stay in trusting myself that that is who he is It may be in my best interests to check that the seat is down before I sit. Blind faith would be for me to keep hoping that he's going to stop leaving it up, or, getting frustrated and angry that he never puts the toilet seat down. So when you trust that people are going to do it, and you know that they're going to do it, and you think that they're not, that really is when you take yourself out of trusting and knowing that that is a possibility that may not work out to be in your best interests. Trust is really about not having to change you to fit into somebody else's reality. It's really trusting of who you can be for you. To be truly vulnerable is that space where you never ever have to put a barrier up to being who you truly be in the world. It's to see all of you, the good, the bad, and the ugly. There's no aligning or agreeing or resisting or reacting to anyone or anything. If everything is just an interesting point of view, then there is no place where you have to defend the rightness or the wrongness of that. A lot of the time we misidentify and misapply pain as intensity, or intensity as pain. So for me, vulnerability is really having an intense life, not a painful life. The fourth cornerstone is allowance, which is one of my absolute favorites. Allowance is to have absolutely no point of view of what somebody else is choosing. So it, again, doesn't necessarily have to be something that you would choose. But true allowance is really to be able to step back, out of judgment, out of defending for or against, and just going, not exactly what I would choose. Maybe that's not what would I like to have show up in my life, but go ahead and choose it until you choose something else. So it really is a space where you get to receive everything and have no point of view about it. There really is no solidity when you're in allowance. And when you're in allowance, if there is nothing solid, there's nothing to push against, then judgment can't exist and your whole life will start to get easier. So to recap, allowance is being grateful for everything you are, everything other people are, and being grateful for everything that you be in the world and everything that is coming to you as a gift, even the judgment. Would you be willing to be grateful for all the things that you have accomplished, for all the things that you gift to the world just by showing up and being you? And would you be willing to be grateful that you chose to come into this world in this beautiful little body and into the life and the living that you call you? Once you start having gratitude for you, then you can really be in allowance for yourself and for everybody else. And please remember, this is a journey and it's a process. So enjoy the ride and remember that it takes as long as it takes and you're going to get it when you get it. So would you be willing to have absolutely no point of view about what that looks like from here on? And enjoy every moment of being that bright, shiny, beautiful star. I hope you have enjoyed the series, and please carry on using the tools. The more that you use them, the easier it's going to get. And before you know it, your whole life will start to show up and be that magic that you as the creator of your life are going to create from just having more information and more awareness of everything and everyone in that space of total allowance. Again, I just want to thank you for joining me over the last 7 days. It's really gone so quickly and it's just given me such an incredible space of joy and expansion to get myself out of my own way and get more familiar with how to use my video editing software and more comfortable in front of a camera. If you are interested in anything else that I have to offer, I have some animal communication classes coming up, as well as the Core Access Foundation and Level 1 classes over the next couple of months through South Africa and Botswana. And if you would like to host me, or you'd like more information or a conversation in consciousness at your book club or networking group or your company, please feel free to email me. I love to play, and what greater contribution can I be to you now and in the future? I hope to meet you in person someday. Have a great time using the tools. And remember, you're amazing. Keep shining.